Alright guys, it's time to get the party started. All y'all been asking about these. I counted them, roughly there's 325, somewhere thereabouts. You know how it is when you get to counting things. A lot of times you'll count one twice or maybe not count one. But I'm not going to spend just a whole lot of time on these. They're broke and a lot of them are tools that possibly are not broke, but a lot of people don't like to watch tools, and so probably not going to handle a whole bunch of them. Had an awesome day yesterday, and I appreciate all the comments, all the camaraderie last night. That's what makes a lot of this YouTube stuff so enjoyable, because I know from experience that the seeing eye is never satisfied. It doesn't make any difference how many you ever see, you'll still want to see another one. That's just human in us. That's a nice chopper, whatever. Some nice grinding stones, really smooth, polished. And just bits and pieces of worked flint. And of course you can see tips and bases and midsections and just a little bit of everything. I didn't know how my day was going to go with the landowner coming around, and I knew he was coming around, and I was just hoping for the best. I first approached him just to give him thanks for letting me hunt, yesterday, and I really didn't feel good when I first walked up to him, because you get that vibe from some people that they give you the impression without saying, who do you think you are? And most certainly I hadn't asked him, so I guess he had the right to feel that way. But long story short, we talked small talk, and I finally got a smile out of him, and before you know it, he said, "No, I don't mind." He said, "Just treat it like it's your own." But he emphasized he didn't want me in it when it'd come a 3-inch rain, and he didn't want me in it the next day, or anybody else. And I told him, just like I believe myself, and it's my opinion, you don't have to take my advice, but I believe, and I've mentioned it before, and I'll stand on it till the day I die, that if it's wet enough that you have to wear rubber boots, and it's got crops in it most especially, you're going to offend some farmers, and you won't be welcome back, and you'll ruin it for everybody else. But all these right here were found there yesterday. Those I were handling right there, I believe Pestle Man said them were hammerstones made out of flint, and boy, they're all roughed up. And they're nice to be hammerstones, I guess. They help to make a lot of this stuff. So going on over here, there's about 20 of these blunts. Of course, they're salvage points, and you all know that, but for the most part, these right here are complete. Even got one down here, a little Beaver Lake blunt. Can you believe that? That's a sweet flake blade if I ever seen one, and I'm not usually very impressed with flake blades. A lot of people like them, and they're an artifact nonetheless. You can see the bulb of percussion right there where that was struck, and so no doubt the Indian that made that had a purpose in mind when he struck that thing right there. And it's serrated all the way around the edges. Well, you can see the workings on the top of it, which goes over the edge. So that was utilized. That's pretty good size, 3 inches. Here's another little flake, and I'm just going to show you these because they're unique. That's got workings all over the top of it, but yet the back is just, you can tell it's just a flake scar. But that's real pointed right there. So whatever they used it for, picking their fingernails or whatever, they utilized it. Neat little piece. And of course you got your heartbreakers in every place you go nearly. That would have been awesome. And all these right in here, they have, you know, they've got field grade damage to most of them. But I was glad to find them, and you know, even if I'd have been at free range to turn that camera on, I still wouldn't have been able to turn it on every time that I've been over, because out of finding 325 artifacts, I've been over at least 325 times. But I know I've been over a whole lot more than that, because I don't use a stick. I gotta get down there and grab them. I don't like to flush them and then grab them. That's just my preference. So I've been over a whole bunch yesterday. My back can tell it today. I've been fortunate though. My back's never given me a whole lot of problems, knock on wood, but my old knees is shot. Look at this heartbreaker right here. This is a beaver tail, but this also could be a beaver tail or a quad. I don't think it'd be a Cumberland because it's, you know, it's relatively thin, and you know, Beaver Lakes are nothing more than unfluted Cumberland, and they weren't fluted because they were thin enough to begin with. And this is not a classroom, by the way, because I just barely do know my name. That's awesome colors in that tool. And you see me find this big blade. Well, it would have been a Dana type, but it's got a big old stack on the back of it, so they probably utilized it either as a knife or a tool. And then on over here to the, like I mentioned, I've not got probably any G10s, but I mentioned last night to one of the commenters that I'm not a G10 either, but it makes me no less of a man. And in fact, I'm a very happy man, especially after yesterday. I had an awesome time. I'm just going to go through some of these, and if you'll give me a minute, you know, I really don't know what to say. Like I mentioned to some of you guys last night, I've never found a whole lot of G10 stuff, but anyway, I consider these to be awesome in my book. It's a pretty nice piece right there. These got some awesome colors in them. Some of those big sandies are ground and some of them aren't. Nice little pieces. Let's get on into this one. You can see it's got some damage on it, but I don't know how much, I don't know what configuration it had. I don't know if this went all the way across or what, but I'm really glad to find that. Some have said they thought it was I think it said a saddleback bannerstone. Just know I've never found one. Found a broken piece one time that looked like it had a hole bored through it. It might have been a bannerstone. Pretty neat piece. And of course we've got some here that's, I'm not going to handle them all, but they were all nice pieces. We've got a drill up there. It's got some pretty colors in it. Anything away from the blacks and the grays is pretty to me, which I like the blacks and the grays too. Check out this knife blade. I think that thing ain't awesome. That's a nice piece right there. Sorry if I'm panning this camera too fast. I mentioned I don't have the big clock yet, and I don't know what you have to do to get the big clock, and but if I have to put it on 3 or 4 parts, that'll be alright too. You may get bored after watching a part or two. Look at those colors. I don't know what you would classify that as. That feels ground right in there. It's a sweet little piece. That's the first one that I found after I acquired permission to hunt the field another time. This one right here is really, really nice. Mr. Speck might be able to help me on this one because he finds some things similar to this. This thing will be translucent, but I know I'm going to go blind when I look up in that sun. I don't know where to get it at the right angle for you. Get over here a little bit. Get it in the sun and me out of the sun. That's a sweet little piece, so I don't know if that's a drill or what you would call that, but he ain't big as nothing. Some nice little flakings on him. And then we have this jewel right here. And you can see the steep beveling on that piece. And I looked in the Overstreet Guide last night at the dovetail, which is one of several beveled pieces, and it said that it had they've got rounded base dovetails, they've got bifurcated base dovetails, they have eared dovetails, and they also have square base dovetails. And then there's a rare variant which is called the clipped wing dovetail, and I'm pretty settled on that being the clipped wing dovetail. That's really slick, and that's a real nice piece. And if you have a different opinion, that would be great to share that with me, but I don't really know what else to call it. It's awesome though. I really like that. It has no damage that I can see anywhere, and those were intentionally done. But anyway, guys, that's the cleanup, and I don't know if I'll be able to get out again today or not. Check out these Beaver Lakes. I like the Beaver Lake. Well, it's one of the very few paleo pieces that we find, or I find. I keep saying we. I mean I. But I like them. I found several about this size, and you know, I mentioned I didn't know where all my stuff come from, and I still don't, but I'm satisfied by me finding 3 down there today, and a blunt beaver tail that probably the other beaver tails that I have came from down there as well. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I appreciate everything that you've had to say, and maybe I could bring you something else before too many more days. And the good thing is there's not even a third of the property that I've got permission to hunt on that's been turned up and put in crops yet, so still hopefully a lot of finds to come. Just keep watching.